And it was Elijah Muhammad who started teaching us about a plane in the sky that was made like a wheel. He said his teacher, a man, Master Farad Muhammad, pointed out to him a dreadful looking plane in the sky, a half a mile by a half a mile, built like the universe itself. It's circular and it holds within it 1,500 little wheel-like planes.
This is in the early 1930s, before there was ever a thing as a UFO phenomenon.
The Pentagon has been keeping track, or trying to, of the type of aircraft that don't take off and land from conventional airports. We're talking about unidentified flying objects, UFOs.
Everything the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have taught us, and everything the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is teaching us, is actual facts.
International, the global aspects of the UFO problem, and all evidence now points to its being a truly global phenomenon.
This Elijah Muhammad that was raised from a third grade education that gave us a theology that is stumbling the world to this day.
I would simply say that there are a number of events in which we do not have an explanation, and there are a small handful in which there are flight characteristics or signature management that we can't explain with the data that we have.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you have to know this because you will be seeing these wheels over the major cities, and he would not like that you would charge him with hiding the truth that Allah God taught him for you and me.
All right, family, welcome back to the Wheel Watchers podcast. If this is your first time watching, we welcome you in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I am your host, Brother Trevor X, sometimes Brother Trey, but it's Brother Trevor. And today we have a very, very special guest, man. This is my brother right here. Let me tell you, man, this is a brother who really needs no introduction, but let's get into it. This is our brother, your brother, student minister, Ilia, Rashad Muhammad. How are you today, sir?
Oh, brother, I'm doing wonderful. Thanks to Almighty God, Allah. Always happy to converse and be around you, big brother. I always have fun when I'm with you, Chief.
Oh, yes, sir. Oh, man, we always have a good time in the good old St. Louis. All praises due to Allah. Oh, yes. And before we get started, man, none of this would be possible without our manager. They choose to remain anonymous. So shout out to Anonymous out there who keeps everything running and keeps this engine going. So all praises due to Allah for that, first and foremost. And yes, before we get into it, today you can see the title and the banner, of course, up top. This is episode 4, and today our subject is how the NOI answered the UFO phenomena. And of course, with our brother student minister, Ilia Rashad Muhammad. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's get started with the first question, shall we? The first question, of course, what has been the response from the public regarding the previous episode of this documentary series called Answered?
Oh, this may sound like it's what anybody who's supporting their business or supporting their work or their brand would say. But I can honestly say, Brother Trevor, that we have received nothing but positive and amazing responses from all of those who shared their reviews with us, who've seen these films. The previous two, Answered, the Prelude, which was the first episode, as well as Answered Part 2, The Coming of God. And this response was not just from those who already believe, like the Muslims in the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
However, these positive responses came largely from those who were not as familiar with the Nation of Islam and our connection as it relates to the UFO phenomena. So those who watched our documentaries, who were not as familiar with us and our teaching, they were amazed. They were intrigued, to say the very least. And this comes from, again, people outside of the nation, people of different ethnicities, who because this information has been kept away from them, not because we kept it away, not because the Nation of Islam has kept this away, because the Nation of Islam has been teaching this very same thing for over 90 years. So when those outside of us learn that the UFO phenomena is directly connected to this God who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, this God in human form, who taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and backs the Nation of Islam, most people have no clue as to the origin of the UFO phenomena. So when they watch these films, they are blown away, to say the very least. And I can see why those, our critics and our enemies, work so hard to keep this truth under wraps and keep the public from hearing it. But nothing but favorable responses across the board.
Yes, sir. All praises due to Allah. And of course, last year we had a screening here in St. Louis of episode 2 of Answered, and you may remember what happened, man. Just at the very end, I got so fired up, man. I scared some of the guests, and I apologize, man. I just started chanting Takbir so loud. It was just the energy from everything that was put together, And all praises due to Allah for that. So we are very thankful that the people have been receiving this information and revelation, and of course now documentation that's been given by you and others in the Nation of Islam. All praises due to Allah. So let's go into question number 2. I will put the poster on the screen. Answer: the battle in the sky. Of course, as you can. Question number 2, without giving major spoilers, what can the people look forward to in this brand new episode, The Battle in the Sky?
It's okay in this case to give spoilers, because even if we give spoilers, it's still going to be intriguing and just as impactful if we didn't.
Right.
So just as in the previous episodes, we showcased and illustrated and proved several points related to the origin of the UFO phenomena and the truth behind them, this one is certainly no exception. Part 3, which we've subtitled The Battle in the Sky, it kind of picks up where we left off in part 2, where Master Fard Muhammad is leaving the Honorable Elijah Muhammad after he had taught the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and showed him the wheel and gave him enough foundational root knowledge for him to lay the foundation really of a whole new world. And we left part 2 somewhere around the time when Master Fard Muhammad was leaving, and we kind of pick up from that time frame in the sense that we do discuss some of Master Fard Muhammad's impact while he dwelt among us in the Detroit area and in the Midwest, and the things that he was doing and the attention that he was attracting, and even the arrest of Master Fard Muhammad. So we pick up on him leaving the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to lay the foundation, and we do highlight just some of those struggles of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the absence of Master Fard Muhammad, and how the hypocrites turned against him, and how he ran for 7 years and ultimately was later incarcerated. But we use that to kind of lead up to that infamous episode in UFO history known as the Battle of Los Angeles.
Yes.
We spend a good amount of time on this very important episode in history, particularly UFO and Nation of Islam history, because it was after this encounter over Los Angeles with these wheels that the U.S. government ultimately arrested the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, largely because he was the only one on record for knowing and having some type of connection to these disc-shaped, wheel-shaped crafts like the ones they encountered over Los Angeles. So we deal heavily with the Battle of Los Angeles and the aftermath with the arrest of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And of course, in the documentary, we get a little more in detail because now we get to examine some of those FBI documents highlighting his and the Nation of Islam's connection to this phenomena. And it was after, and how after his incarceration and even after his release, that's when the major misinformation campaign was forwarded by the US government and its cohorts in the American press. And that misinformation campaign was, man, somewhat brutal. They came hard, especially in the 1950s. They came hard against both the Nation of Islam. I see my screen is stopped right there. How long has it been stopped, man?
It's only been like a few seconds, like
okay,
maybe like 5-6 seconds. It just started.
Hopefully we can get that taken care of. But needless to say, what we were able to do was, after highlighting the Battle of Los Angeles, we highlighted the misinformation campaign and how that misinformation campaign was targeting both the UFO phenomena to confuse the public about the origin of them. And that's with all the gray aliens and green men and all of these things started popping up. But the other part of that misinformation campaign was absolutely to divert attention away from Master Fard Muhammad. Because in this episode of Answered Part 3, The Battle in the Sky, we also, Brother Trevor, deal heavily with the fact that the FBI forwarded a heavy misinformation campaign against the Savior, Master Fard Muhammad. So we deal with that Wallace Dodd Ford crap. We deal with their conflation of trying to confuse the public about Master Fard Muhammad and this Wallace Dodd Ford character that they came up with. So we deal with all of that and a little more to finally, just settle the score and make it plain that you can't keep running away from the Nation of Islam as it relates to the UFO phenomena. So that's just a spoiler right there. But as you watch it, you'll be even more intrigued.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All praise due to Allah. Inshallah, we'll get that camera back working. Inshallah. So brothers and sisters, please keep tuning in. We thank you so much for tuning in and watching. All right, let's go to question number 3. Question number 3, we ask, in the Bible, where the wheel is first mentioned in the first chapter of the book of Ezekiel, how do these prophecies relate to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Yes. In the scriptures, the Torah, the Old Testament, the Bible, and in the New Testament, not just in the book of Ezekiel, we see all throughout the scriptures, Bible and Holy Quran, that God operates from some type of flying vehicle, some type of flying vessel, whether it's described as clouds, whether it's described as his throne, whether it's described as flying chariots, or as in the book of Ezekiel as wheels. We see where God and his angels operate from some flying vessels. So it is so replete throughout the scriptures that it is almost insane for anyone to believe in the God of the scriptures and not believe what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan teach concerning these UFOs. So all of the scriptures point to a day and time when God would intervene in human affairs, particularly for his lost people. And in so doing, he would render judgment on those people, on that nation who has oppressed and tormented his lost people. This is a story that is recycled throughout the prophecies of the Bible and really the Holy Quran. So what we find with what they call the UFO phenomena is really the fulfillment of the divine prophecies. And because it is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad who brought this information to the modern world, it is because he was the one who fulfilled these prophecies by meeting this God in person, in human form, as the prophecies predict, and represents the reality of these so-called UFOs. It is because of that reason that the world has tried to push this and keep it a secret, because the truth about these so-called UFOs unveils the fact that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan have been outright 1000% correct this whole time. Now, Brother Trey, I don't know if you want me to temporarily leave the studio and come right back to fix this camera thing. I think I can do that. I think it'll work better if I do that. You want to give it a shot?
Yes, sir. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, it may take about a minute.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know if you can play the trailer.
Yes, I can do that. Let's see.
All right, let me get this fixed. I appreciate you.
All right then. All right then, family. For those who haven't seen it, let's play the trailer one more again. Here we go.
And it was Elijah Muhammad who started teaching us about a plane in the sky that was made like a wheel. He said his teacher, a man, Master Farad Muhammad, pointed out to him a dreadful looking plane in the sky, a half a mile by a half a mile, built like the universe itself. It's circular and it holds within it 1,500 little wheel-like planes.
This is in the early 1930s, before there was ever a thing as a UFO phenomenon.
The Pentagon has been keeping track, or trying to, of the type of aircraft that don't take off and land from conventional airports. We're talking about unidentified flying objects, UFOs.
Everything the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have taught us, and everything the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is teaching us, is actual facts.
International, the global aspects of the UFO problem, and all evidence now points to its being a truly global phenomenon.
This Elijah Muhammad that was raised from a third grade education that gave us a theology that is stumbling the world to this day.
I would simply say that there are a number of events in which we do not have an explanation, and there are a small handful in which there are flight characteristics or signature management that we can't explain with the data that we have.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "You have to know this, because you will be seeing these wheels over the major cities, and he would not like that you would charge him with hiding the truth that Allah God taught him for you and me."
right, brothers and sisters, we are back. Let's see if our brother has risen. Let us see. There he is. He's back. He's risen.
All right. We'll see how long this lasts.
All right. I can't remember, where did we leave off at, brother Ilia?
You know, we were talking about the fulfillment of those prophecies. And, you know, that reminded me too, Brother Trey, of the fact that it's really something, because what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan and the nation really represent in some ways is the nullification of the spookism of religion. The Nation of Islam literally solves,
that's right,
and answers the truth about God,
yes,
and the prophecies. And we do so in the most real world, pragmatic fashion. So whereas most in traditional religion, be it Judaism, Christianity, Islam, believe in the scriptures and believe in the prophecies, it's almost as though we have like a spooked out idea of God and the prophecies that is so abstract that it has very little, if any, relevance in terms of real world application. But it is only when you get to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad do we find where the scriptures and the prophecies and even the symbolism throughout the scriptures actually have the most relevant real world application. You see, so the whole world of religion should be expecting God operating in these through these flying vessels.
Yes, sir.
God and his angels in these wheel-shaped crafts that Ezekiel saw and foretold of in those prophecies. While the whole world of religion is baffled by these kind of prophecies, what makes it worse is that the religious world, for the most part, rejects the clear evidence and fulfillment of what these prophecies point to.
Yes.
And part of the reason for the rejection is because it is a hard pill to swallow for people of any faith tradition, of any political persuasion, of any educational ideology, to have to admit and acknowledge that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan are right and exact. That's a hard pill to swallow, man. So you mean folks have been believing this way for so long, and then this black man, the grandson of slaves, comes up with real world proof that he met God.
Right.
Man, nobody trying to hear that. You see, let alone deal with it right on. And this is why you'll find that the Nation of Islam has been just lied on so much. I mean, every aspect about the nation.
Yes, sir.
And the reason, and most of these lies come from high levels of government. You know, these are not organic lies that pop up, you know, out of nowhere or out of thin air. These are heavily planned and constructed lies that have been pushed and forwarded for decades, ever since the inception of the Nation of Islam in the 30s, you know, with the mislabeling us as a voodoo cult to scare our people from even having any dealings with us in the 30s. They called us in the 40s, they scared our people from dealing with us by calling us Jap lovers, Japanese lovers, sympathizers. You know, this is when America was at odds with Japanese, with Japan, especially after Pearl Harbor. And even in the 50s, they labeled the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the nation as communists. That's during what they call the McCarthy era, when any American dissidents and people who spoke out during that time, they just put that communist, label.
Yeah.
So the Nation of Islam was certainly no exception. In fact, when we look at the FBI files on the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they had him as like a top priority. Here's an unarmed black man, mind you,
Right.
who doesn't have a criminal record, until they arrested him simply for telling the truth, who claims that he met God in person, and neither he nor his followers are allowed to carry carnal weapons. Yet the FBI categorized the Honorable Elijah Muhammad during a certain portion, especially in the 50s. If you look at the FBI files, the declassified ones, some of them in their files on the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you'll see what it says, like DETCOM, DETCOM. I'm like, what the hell is this? Because I'm trying to research and I'm looking through the files and I'm trying to find out, is this some special FBI language or something? And what I realized is that DETCOM that they would have in many of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's FBI files was to label him as detained as communist. So it's like, man, they put us in the communist bag. So we've been lied on forever.
Exactly.
Ever since the nation has been existing. In fact, they're also throughout the FBI files, they refer to us as the Nation of Islam sometimes, but in other occasions, I would see MCI when they were referring to us. Like, hold on, I never heard that. MCI. And later, when you dig into the FBI files, that's a term that the FBI use to mislabel the Nation of Islam as Muslim cult of Islam. That's what the MCI that they had was there for.
Wow.
Muslim cult of Islam. So as they would forward their misinformation campaign, even in the declassified files, they don't hide a whole lot. They let you know, look, we're gonna destabilize. We're gonna work to destabilize these folks. We're gonna work to smear their names and make Elijah Muhammad look ridiculous, as some of the language literally said. So the misinformation campaign was both against UFOs and against the Nation of Islam simultaneously.
Wow.
And the misinformation campaign was to make sure that the public was never able to make the connection between the two. This is why to this very day, Brother Trey, none of the discussions about UFOs ever include the source, which is the Nation of Islam. Now, we've been on this for over 90 years, teaching the same thing about these wheels, the only ones on the planet that actually have valid answers to this phenomena and have been public with it since before it even became a concern. But it's literally a conspiracy of silence. They are not allowed to engage us intelligently when it comes to this subject matter. So they'll have UFO conferences, they'll have news segments, they'll have documentaries, they'll write books, but they damn sure won't come to us about it.
Exactly, bro. Thank you so much for breaking that down and even going into the FBI files and going into some of the explanations as to why they don't even deal with the Nation of Islam itself. We had a question in the simplest terms, if you could break it down. What is a communist for somebody who wouldn't know? Just a very simple definition.
Communist, and you're taking me back to civics class now, And now, believe it or not, still some different definitions that they would have for communists.
Right.
Back during that day, the communists referred to those socialist type of regimes that America was at odds with, particularly those in the Far East, China and other governments, even Russia, that were communists at the time, which is vastly different from, say, a capitalistic type of democracy that America operates by. It's a dog eat dog kind of world, whereas in a communist type of thing, the economy and other things like that are controlled to try to give some type of equality, of equal distribution of both wealth and resources to some degree. So, and because communists were painted as the big enemy, especially during the McCarthy era in the 50s, then to turn the public against any Americans, then all they had to do was paint you with that red paint and call you a communist. And that would be like, okay, hands off. Much similar to how the last few decades, America and its white power structure would weaponize the term anti-Semitism. So if they put that label on you, whether you are truly an anti-Semite or not, it didn't matter. If they say that you are, they can lie all they want. But if they say that you're an anti-Semite, traditionally or customarily, once that label is on you, that would prevent you from resources. It could often destabilize your business or organization. It could defame persons. And that's how the term communism was used then. That's how terms like anti-Semitism has been used and is still used. But we notice how all of those lies are starting to lose its flavor nowadays, because the truth is being made known thanks to the voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is the national representative of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the man that met God.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for your question. As a matter of fact, I think we have time for 2 more, inshallah. I know we got to be on time. Yes, sir. So we do have one from the audience. All right. Joy X Rosa asks.
That's my sister.
Yes, praise be to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Ilia. Could you talk more on the significance of the nearly 40 years since the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's More Than a Vision, and how that anniversary is upcoming in relation to Answer?
Yes, yes, yes. First of all, we are so thankful just to know that this coming September will represent the 40th year of the More Than a Vision experience of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who had an experience where he literally met with and spoke with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad audibly while upon that great mother wheel in the sky. This was on September 17th of 1985. And this coming September literally will mark the 40th anniversary of that holy day. I call it a holy day because it was an episode in history that would change the course of history forever, because it is also in fulfillment of the prophecies of what we read in Ezekiel, where a servant of God is taken up in the spirit to be with God. And he is shown things in this experience as he is taken up on high to this New Jerusalem to be with God. And in the 8th chapter of the book of Ezekiel, we find that this episode, when calculated, actually took place on September 17th, according to the Bible scholars. But part of what this servant of God was shown in this experience was the fall of the temple. He was given a behind the scenes look. This is biblically speaking. This servant of God was given a behind the scenes look as to what was going to take place in the nation or in the temple, and some of the corruption that was taking place in the world and in the temple, and how there was an inevitable fall that would have to take place in order for it to be restored. So there's a lot of significance to this experience. It is foretold in several episodes in the biblical narrative, and we'll get more into that, in some of our other episodes, upcoming episodes of Answered, and in our other works as well.
Yes. All praise is due to Allah. We thank you so much for your question. And let's go to, as a matter of fact, I got one that's kind of this one might be a curveball. I like to, let's see if I can get you off guard a little bit. Maybe not, but we'll see. Okay. This one, according to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, Black scientists under Master Fard Muhammad's direction built the mother plane in anticipation of a future battle with America and other nations. How should we interpret this? Is it metaphorical, prophetic, literal, or some combination of all three? That's a loaded one, but
it's loaded, but I can tell you it's a combination of all of it.
Right. Yes, sir.
It has its metaphorical or spiritual meanings, but make no mistake, that is real.
Yeah.
And it's so real that all the prophecies foretell of a judgment and a destruction of this present world's paradigm. This present world, which is operated and run by satanic powers.
Yes.
Hence, he is referred to as the God of this world in the New Testament. Satan is. So all of the scriptures foretell of a prophesied judgment, and that judgment would be God judging the wicked for their wickedness after he has given them time to rule the world with their wickedness for a period of time. But their term and their time is up now, and we are in the days of God. And the clearest, in my judgment, one of the clearest signs of this judgment and the time that we're in is the reality and presence of these wheels, or what they call UFOs. These are tools and literally weapons that God uses to prove that he has power to enact judgment on the world.
Go ahead. Yes.
So don't tell me about a God who's supposed to judge the wicked and have capabilities of destroying the world, but you see no signs of those capabilities in the real world. No, that's not the God of the Nation of Islam. The God of the Nation of Islam is real, and he has proof, real world proof, that he is superior and has superior weaponry, that he has the power to enact judgment on the world. That's the God we serve.
Go ahead. Hey, that was a beautiful answer to such a loaded question.
Yes,
it's real. It's real, basically. That's what it is. And we have one more final question before we get out of here. It's kind of
time went by quick, didn't it?
It really did. It really did. And I want to really respect your time. And let's go into this last one. It's a little loaded, but inshallah we'll get there. Lastly, on February 24th through early February 25th in the city of Los Angeles, God gave the enemy a small demonstration of power with this calling card, the mother plane. Please go into details of this incident and why the messenger was arrested twice in that same year.
Yes. Well, I mentioned part of it earlier.
Yes.
And that's a main part of what we're going to be covering in Answered Part 3. So hopefully I can get them, whoever asked that question,
right,
to be one of the main ones to check out Answered Part 3. And as you can see on the poster, it has somewhat of the imagery that reminds us of the Battle of Los Angeles, with the lights being pointed at it, as the shots were being fired at these crafts. So to make a long story short, and this is why we spent so much time dealing with the Battle of Los Angeles in this particular episode of Answered, it is because it is a very critical episode in history that has, for the most part, been swept under the rug. And I have to give the Nation of Islam credit, because were it not for the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his research team, our brother Dr. Wesley, myself, Brother Dimitri, if it wasn't for the Nation of Islam,
that's right,
the Battle of Los Angeles, the true history of that would have still been swept under the rug. But it was the nation that brought it out, because we know why they tried to sweep this very important history under the rug. And it is because this history, or the true history concerning that episode where these wheels made their presence felt and were encountered by the U.S. Armed Forces in 1942. They fired shots at it, and it didn't do anything to these superior crafts. And afterwards, these crafts, one larger one and some smaller ones, just went about their business to show and prove that this was the most superior technology that they had ever seen or could ever see. Just to put America and the world on notice that God is here, his calling card, you see. And it was after that, when they did all their research and found that Elijah Muhammad, the Muslims, were the only ones on record with true knowledge of these crafts that they had encountered. So yes, we have to deal with this critical episode of history, because it ties so much together in terms of knowing, not believing, but knowing that these aerial phenomena you call UAP or UFOs is the direct product of Master Fard Muhammad in fulfillment of the divine prophecies. Nobody seems like they want to take us up on that conversation.
That's right.
Yeah, we can't even pay our critics and enemies to try to argue with us on this. And the reason is because this truth about UFOs proves in the real world the truth of God. It proves that Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan are absolutely right and exact.
Yes.
So now that truth totally debunks all those other lies that they forwarded. Lies about Master Fard Muhammad being this Wallace Dodd Ford character.
Right.
Lies about this voodoo cult. Lies about Elijah Muhammad. And all of just the lies that they've been piling on for decades. The fact that they don't want to deal with the truth that Master Fard Muhammad is the God behind these wheels, it debunks all their lies. So they cannot and refuse to deal with this intelligently.
Yes. Man, Brother Ilia, I thank you so much for breaking that down. As a matter, I think your camera froze again.
Yeah. How long has it been frozen? I'm just not seeing that.
It's been close to a minute. So we've been trying to do our best to improvise on here, but it's okay. We got
I think that's coming from my end. I thought it was freezing on me the other day, and I figured it was a firmware update, and I just updated it this morning. But I guess maybe it's time for me to get a new camera, bro. I think that's what that is.
Yes, sir. It's all good. It's all good. We're working through it. We do have a few smaller questions, as a matter of fact.
You know what? If you will, give me literally less than a minute, and I'm going to log back in
Okay.
Just like last time, if that's okay.
Oh, that's all good. That's all good.
All righty.
We'll make it work.
Here we go.
All right. Thank you so much, family, for tuning in. If you haven't, please let them know that we are in here and we are live. Episode 4, How the NOI Answered the UFO Phenomena, with student minister Ilia, Rashad, Muhammad. As a matter of fact, we do have an intro that we could perhaps show you to until our brother comes back. As a matter of fact, let's show our Will Watch's YouTube intro. Let's do that real quick.
Because before you can call me crazy, these wheels will be seen all over America. All over America. They're coming down over the major cities. So you won't be able to say it's swamp gas or little lights and people were drunk. They'll be down over Chicago. They'll be down over New York. You will look up one day and see them, and I don't want you to be terrified. They're your friends, black man.
All right, that was the intro, and our brother's back. He is back.
Hey. Yes, that was a nice intro too, bro.
Yes,
nice,
praise be
beat
to-
everything.
Oh yeah, that's all good. And one little small question we have another one from Sister Joy. It says, Brother Ilia, have you had any personal experiences with the mother wheel, baby planes, or any visions / dreams, etc.?
I've not had any personal experience with the actual mother plane per se, outside of having personal experiences with the representative of the mother plane, which is my teacher and your teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Right.
However, I have had several sightings of baby planes. Sightings that you could say were experiences too, because some of those sightings is when you kind of pray for to see something and Allah shows you. So
right.
That certainly is an experience. But and I tell people all the time, Sister Joy, even if I had never seen a baby plane or the mother plane for myself, it wouldn't change too much because there's too much evidence. All the evidence proves that these things are real. So just because I may not have personally seen or witnessed something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist now. I mean, look, I've never been to China before. And I would sound real silly if I was up here saying, man, China don't exist. Just because I haven't been there,
Right.
Got a freaking billion people over there. But that's how some people actually are as it relates to these teachings that have been clearly proven in the real world. I'm reminded of one of the prophets in the Holy Quran. I think it was Musa or Moses, where despite him bringing clear signs and evidence from Allah, some of the people were telling him, look, it doesn't matter what type of sign you bring, we still not gonna believe.
Right.
Like, well, man, some people you just can't talk to. But I'm just thankful that I'm blessed to know what these crafts are and to know the source behind it.
Yes.
And even more blessed to know the representative, that Messiah among us who represents that power, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We are very, very fortunate people. Appreciate that, Sister Joy.
All praise is due to Allah. And as we conclude, let's go to a few comments from the audience. We're just going to read them. Sister Joy says, Brother Ilia, I actually had a dream with you in it about 1 year ago when you were showing me the way to a baby plane. All praise is due to Allah.
Yeah. It might come true.
It might, yeah.
I might have some connections,
Right.
I might show it to you,
Yeah. And one more comment from official MNIB. Brother Ilia, when are you dropping that mixtape with those smooth vocals you be dropping from time to time?
Woo. My.
Go ahead.
Man, you know what? It's funny because, I come from a musical family, and I'm like the only person in my entire family. When I say entire family, I'm talking about cousins, brothers, siblings, children, grandparents. I'm like the only person in my family that doesn't play an instrument. You know what I mean? So I come from a musical family, and I have messed around with my music, and in the back of my mind and heart, I've been telling myself I'm gonna get back into it. But you have so much on your plate and whatnot. And if you recall some of the songs at the end of the documentary during the end credits, those were mostly songs that I had written like 11, 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
These were just drafts that I had. And since I didn't, I wanted to make use of it, so let me put it at snippets of it at the end credits.
Right.
And believe it or not, I've had a lot of people tell me, just like my brother, like, hold on, you gonna do something with that?
Right.
In fact, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan suggested that to me a couple of times. He was raving over the documentary, and after he had saw it, and then a couple of times he was telling me about the songs and the singing that I was doing in it, and he encouraged me to do something with that. So if the Messiah
go ahead
will use all your gifts
yes
for Allah's cause, then we want to find ourselves being obedient and manifesting that. So hopefully we'll have something coming soon.
Yes, all praises due to Allah. And before we get out of here, let's plug some of your stuff. Of course, you can see it at the bottom. We have the website for purchase of the DVD, and streaming is also available at nationsbrothers.com. I will put the picture right up here for episodes 1 and 2 right here on the screen. There they are. Please, we urge you to pick those up at nationsbrothers.com. And of course, that's the website right here with the logo. All praises due to Allah. Oh, and also we can't forget, also purchase our brother's book at nationsbrothers.com. UFOs and the Nation of Islam. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you can see it, but I got mine right here. I just got into it. It's a shame because I said I'm gonna get it years after years, but I said, let me go ahead and spend this money and get it. And man, let me tell you, the way you write, it's like I can actually visualize you teaching as you write it. It's like the way you write and the way you teach go hand in hand. And it's all praises due to Allah.
Praises due to Allah.
Yes, family. And also, of course, we urge you to like, share, and subscribe to the Will Watchers podcast. And also, you can find our brother Ilia Rashad Muhammad on Instagram and Facebook at Ilia Rashad. There we go. And of course, if you have had any experiences with the Wills, or you would like to give a testimony, please don't hesitate to reach out to us via email. Our Gmail is right there, the Will Watchers Podcast at gmail.com. Again, that is the Will Watchers Podcast at gmail.com. And let's see if we got anything else. Oh, wait. Well, there was actually a comment that just came in by Ronnie Morant that says, I see baby planes almost on a nightly basis. I have multiple videos as well. I saw what may have been the mother wheel. I can't say for certain, but 2 smaller planes deployed from it and zipped off. All praises due to Allah. These sightings do happen and do occur. They reach out to us, as a matter of fact. And before we get out of here, let me just say, Brother Ilia Rashad, student minister, we thank you so much for coming on. I don't take this for granted. We at the Will Watchers Podcast do not take this for granted. You know, we appreciate the blessing. I mean, I cannot thank Allah enough for what you do for the nation. I mean, it's very important, you know.
Brother, you know, me and my whole family, you know, we love you, brother. and we love you for your spirit, and your encouragement, because you believe and you understand that it is important that our people know this truth.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes it's a harsh truth, and sometimes we have to find ways to make it palatable for our people. And I certainly appreciate you, your encouragement, your support, and your work in making this truth known. I thank a lot for you, and just for your personality. That's one of the reasons why we love you so much, bro.
Oh, praise be to Allah, man. I appreciate it. I cannot thank Allah enough. And let's give a shout out to our audience. Thank you all for tuning in. I see it's about 24 people in here, man. We
All right,
appreciate it. I know it's going to be more, inshallah, throughout the week, because we're going to, a matter of fact, after I'm done with this, I'm going to chop this up, make some highlights of the videos, and post those on all of our platforms. And of course, we're going to post you in them and tag you in them, of course. And with that being said, family, before I forget, my manager told me, put this up here. This is our logo. This is our slogan here. Where there's a will, there's a way. Family, we thank you so much for watching. Yes. Message. And until next time, again, I am Brother Trey, member of the Will Watchers podcast. And this is our brother student minister, Ilia Rashad Muhammad. Did you have any final words, or were you good?
Man, just thanking you and praying that Allah bless you, bless this podcast, and bless us all as we work to make his commission known throughout the world. Thank you once again, beloved.
All right. Thank you, family. And until next time, always remember, where there's a will, there's a way. And assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Wa alaikum salam.